Wow. Nats. What's that? Listen, you guys are ready. You guys are ready for tonight. I'm telling you. Waving. Nat, we'll be ready in a sec. We're just going to let them build up, yeah? Guys, do you know what we're talking about tonight? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pin it anyway, because you might have missed it. You might have missed it. It sorts itself out. What's happening, guys? Greetings, anyway. Greetings from the social work race. Hopefully you have seen my... Guys, have you clicked onto the link in my bio? It gives you access to everything. I've got 2 requests here, guys. Please bear with me. I'm going to bring you in a second. You know what? We need an audience. I tell you why. Because social services has been punched around. The government's taken liberties with us in that they've allowed the narrative to really impact how people work with us. And whenever things have gone pear-shaped, they've been ready to put the neck of social workers. How you doing, Sweens? They've allowed us to be knocked around by false narratives, you know what I'm saying? Evening all. Guys, welcome yourselves. This is a community. This is a family. We're developing a family anyway. I've got 2 guests on today. We're discussing... Yes, Nikki. We're discussing the MAdeliline McCann case. And it's important because this is not a look at... I'm going to bring them in now whilst we're talking. A discussion about the conspiracy. We're not into the conspiracy side of it. We might touch on it now and again. I think it's impossible to avoid it, to be honest.
Hi.
Is that Nikki?
Nat.
So listen, I don't know what anyone looks like, but don't worry, we're going to warm up in a minute. Yeah, we're not going so much into the controversy of it, you know, because that is you know,
Never ending.
We can't do it. It's just, I want to, but we can't do it. But you listen, this is have they accepted? Let's have a look. I've clicked accept. Maybe they're coming through in a sec. Yeah. What do you want to talk about? Don't worry, we're going to get there. We're going to talk about what we can learn from it. So I guess it's impossible to kind of avoid going into some of what we know wasn't right, but we're going to get into it anyway. So we're talking about that case and what social services should have done. Now, for those of you who are professionals or frontline workers, social workers, this is a really good discussion because you cannot take your eye off the ball. I'm not going to give all the answers, but I've got a guest here today and I've got another one joining in a second. Miss Nessie. According to Instagram, she's called Miss Nessie. Okay. What I say to Miss Nessie is, see, we've got the comments coming through already. Request to join again. Oh, you're joining.
Hi.
Look at that.
Sorry, complications.
Don't watch that. Oh, good to have you all. Good. Let me fix this up. Good to have you guys.
Evening, everyone.
It's gonna be
Evening.
Good evening. And you know, nobody's met, so here we go, except for me. I just want to say, Vanessa, welcome. Nat, welcome. Curtis, welcome. Welcome to the audience. They're still coming in. I'm reading comments as I'm talking to you. It's an interesting full-time job. It's like I should be paid for this, you know what I mean? It's hard work. But I appreciate your bravery to join the show. We're going to have an interesting discussion about the MAdeliline McCann case. We're going to take our time to get into it. First of all, hold those parents are look, they're coming through already. The comments. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, hold those parents to account, of course. But let's go there. Let's go there. All right. So, Nat, please introduce yourself. What you're doing. You don't have to say where you're working or where you're from as such, but you know, tell us what's happening with you.
My name's Natalie, and I'm in my first year of studies for my social work degree.
Yeah. Anything else?
I currently work with vulnerable adults
Yeah.
with learning disabilities. I've done that for the past 5 years.
Wicked. Love it. Love it. Love it. You love what you do?
Yeah, I love my job. Definitely. I think it's the vulnerable adults that has made me get this far.
Yeah. What does that mean?
In terms of where they're not given equal opportunities, I feel they deserve more. But because of their disabilities and challenges, they don't get it. And that's what's driven me to go for my social work degree.
Wicked. And what do you plan to do? Maybe your answer could be, I just want to be a social worker and do more. What is it that you're doing a social work degree for?
To give the people what they deserve rather than what is available. So yeah, I'm getting there. Really.
I think you're giving someone motivation here, right? So, you know, just you busy. And I'm glad. Look, and you know what as well? I'm actually going to have people on here who do not like social services. Not tonight. But, you know, social services needs to be a more of an open book. Do you know what I mean? But you're an inspiration and you're a student, first year, and you sound like you've got more than enough common sense for this game.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming on. Vanessa.
Hey.
I'm going to introduce yourself.
So I'm Vanessa. I've been doing social work for about 3 going on 4 years. Was a youth worker before that. Worked with children and young people for 20 plus years. Currently working for a local authority in the fostering team, and I also do independent social work as well. So that's me.
Goodness me, you're doing it all then.
Trying.
You're swimming in the deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting you're a warrior, and that's, I think, they're talking. Do you know someone in there called Jodie? I don't know, but
no, thank you.
yeah, we'll take it. I'll take it as well.
Yeah, thanks.
You know, but yeah, so social workers. Let's get into it. We're discussing the MAdeliline McCann case. You guys came forward and said, "Yeah, I'm happy to come discuss this." And just to tell the audience, it takes bravery to just put your face on social media.
Definitely.
I would say though, Nat, if you can bring the camera down to more, put your face in the middle of the screen, or whatever you got to do, because we're just behind a lot of perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah, perfect. So the MAdeliline McCann case is this, guys. You know what happened. Nearly 20 years ago now, I think she went missing.
Wow, that long ago.
I think it's that long ago.
Wow. So she must be how old right now?
No, like it wouldn't be 20 years. It's not quite 20 years, is it?
It's about 13.
Sorry, you're right. You're right.
13.
Get mixed up with another case. That's right. And yeah, someone saying you guys are brave. And the case is that a family, and we're gonna have to look at this more clinically. But I know Natalie's got some stuff. But we're professionals now, so we've got to kind of be a little bit clinical in this game. The family went on holiday to Portugal, as actually more than one family went on holiday. They left their children in the hotel room. 2007, thank you. They left their children. I'm taking my time with this, guys. My brain is going fast, but I'm taking my time with this. Okay. And the distance we'll talk about in a minute. They were too far away to know what was going on. Having drinks and having fun. 2 professionals having fun with their mates.
2 high class flying professionals, might we add? Weren't they doctors or something?
Yeah.
Or consultants or something?
You started already. You started already. And Then when they got back to the flat, their child was missing. Yeah, their child was missing. So where do we start with this? Now, I want to bear in mind, guys, listen, I just want to reiterate, I'm talking to the audience now, we are not heavily into the conspiracy aspect of it or the massive injustice of it, but we have to go there a little bit, okay? Because it's impossible to avoid it. But the most important thing we want to get from this is what can we as professionals do to not repeat certain mistakes? Whoever wants to lead out, mate. I've got my notepad here.
I think within this case, we could come at it in many angles of inequalities, many class, status, race. But what stands out for me is the media coverage that this case received compared to other missing children. Like within hours, it was worldwide. To this day, we all know who MAdeliline McCann is, to the point they've made a Netflix documentary about it.
Yeah.
Now, if this was my child or a black child, we don't hear about this. It's covered up.
So wait, why are you going straight to race? Why do you think that you wouldn't get that look in for your child? Why do you say that?
Because it's a big inequality that is rarely discussed.
What is an inequality?
The race of a child. So a white child, we hear a lot about missing white children in the media, on the news, in the newspapers. When it's a black child, it's barely mentioned. Yeah, and that's racism itself, because every child should receive the same coverage if they're missing. They're a missing child, they're vulnerable. So why is it that a white child is worldwide, a black child, you'll be very lucky to get media coverage?
Right.
Do you know what, Natalie? I need to stop you there. I'm not dismissing the race bit, and I totally agree with you, but I think something extra needs to be included in that, which I know you'll agree, again, is to do with their profession. Their profession, I believe, has got a big input into, as you were saying, the coverage and as well as the race. But yeah, I just wanted to add that. Please continue.
And that's why I said we could come at it at many angles of inequality. So within the media, they've got this thing, the white girl syndrome. So therefore, if a little white girl goes missing, blonde hair, blue eyes, of a working class family that already have finances in their control, it will get the coverage. Compared to a black child that the majority are not working class, they're just not valued. It's racism in itself.
This is called, and you know, I just want to say, love to all races or creeds or heritage here, right? The word race is actually going to disappear from this country soon, I reckon. But love, because we're all one. Love to everyone. However, there's an issue. There is something called missing white woman syndrome. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just putting some title behind it, where that's where the media runs to. And I've done a podcast on it, so you're on. I think you're on the money right there.
And it's wrong. A child is a child, no matter what race they are, no matter what class background their family are from, no matter what status they hold. They are missing, and we need to find these children and safeguard these children.
But you know what? As you were talking, do you remember there was that, and it will go back to MAdeliline, there was that white girl who went missing, and I think she was found in the attic of her mother's partner or something. Do you remember? She was found in the mattress under the divan bit. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Now I'm comparing the two, and I'm thinking, okay, so you've got some wealthy, upper class family, MAdeliline, but then you've got some lower working class family, and it got as much media attention. I can't quite figure that out, because as I said, I agree with you, Natalie, but in the comparison, that's interesting. The same kind of coverage, but then again, does it go back to race, which is what you was talking about?
In the Shannon Matthews case, it
That's
only
it.
started to receive the media coverage when it was highlighted that the mother was actually involved. So it was a whole scam. That's why it received media coverage, not
Mm,
because she was race or anything. It was because it was found out and highlighted that this was a scam that the mother was actually involved in.
mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you both a question. Class. What has that got to do with this? You mentioned that already, Vanessa.
Mm. I think again, it just goes back to what Natalie was saying, that if it was like a working class or middle class, you just wouldn't hear that coverage. Is it because that these Madeline's parents knew people in high places? Is it because they were articulate and they could express their way that would gain that attention or that coverage? I don't know. Is it because you know, is it like, oh my gosh, oh poor me, I'm this consultant and my child's gone missing, you know, I'm so-called perfect, I don't know what I could have done. Hello, you left your child alone. And you wasn't there, what did you expect? You know? Yeah.
Do you know what? There's a comment here. Parents weren't involved. They were murdered by the school caretaker. Now listen, don't miss the point, guys. We're looking. It doesn't matter what happened to that girl. The fact is, something happened to that girl. What should social services or professionals have done as a result of the child going missing? That's the key question. Yeah. Now, I don't mind you talking in the background about it, but don't miss the point still. I don't mind you talking in the background about, oh, what media. Yeah, talk about it. Don't forget the question. This is a serious discussion about what should have happened as a result. And what we're doing is we're breaking down some of the topics that are raised as a result of it not going through what we might consider normal channels. I remember there was a black girl who was found into the media. She was highlighted. She went on holiday and left their baby in the cot.
Ah, yes.
Remember that?
Mm.
And the child obviously died, right? And the girl's gone to prison. She got back and she's gone to prison. And I said to myself, hold on a minute. How much is the color of her skin involved in this story, number one? But she was seen as a monster. However, leaving her child, which caused her death, she's gone to jail.
Someone said in the comments that the other children should have been taken away.
Okay, what do you think? Now, you might not know so much. I don't know. It's your first year, but you might know. You might be that experienced. I don't know. But the child should have been taken away, guys. What do you think? The
The rest
children,
of the children,
the rest of the children
yeah.
should have been taken away. What do you think?
So if you think about it, in today's society, like someone else said as well, you know, there should be clear guidance about at what age can you leave a child alone. And I agree with that. A lot of people think that there is an age. There isn't. There is not an age you can leave a child home alone. It's down to the parents' discretion. And I think that's where the lines are blurred. There needs to be more clarity. But then, you know, one child who's 14 could be left at home alone compared to another child who doesn't have the capacity to be left home alone. So again, it's on case by case situation. And in terms of taking the other children away, if risk assessments and all that good stuff was done and it was deemed necessary, then by yes, it should be done.
So here, someone just said, you know, I'll tell you for free, the age is defo not 3. 3 is
Of
good.
course not.
Is there anyone here that would leave their 3-year-old at home by themselves?
No.
Then we're going to go down to Tesco's Express to pick up a loaf of bread. It's going to take 10 minutes.
Some people would. Some people would that either don't have the common sense or they don't have the ability to understand that you can't leave a 3-year-old alone.
Well, what if I was to say to you, I know my child. She will chill out in the bedroom, or she's asleep. She won't wake up.
Or
I'm
she's on the tablet, she's not going to move.
Oh, yeah, we've had.
In fact, children move less when they're on the tablet than when they're sleeping. You know, is that okay? 3 years old.
No.
So Natalie, I'm talking to you as a student then. What do you suggest?
I think assessments needed to be carried out on the parents after that child went missing to assess their parenting abilities.
Yeah.
And to try to identify why would you leave the children in the first place. Like, this is just not on. You don't leave a 3-year-old. So I think previous to the case, assessments needed to be carried out to get to the root of the problem, to why these children were left in the first place. I don't think we can just push it aside and focus on finding the little girl. There's a bigger picture here to what led to the case.
Okay.
And also, what
Yeah.
had they done previously that we might not have known about?
What do you mean?
They could have left the children. They could have gone on a holiday previously and done the same thing. They could have done it at home. They could have been one of the parents. Oh, I'm just quickly going to the shop. Oh, let's quickly go and get a glass of wine and leave the children at home. But they just weren't found. Or maybe the neighborhood that they were in, nobody said anything. So who knows? Do we know?
So why are you asking?
I think it's important because when you're doing an assessment, you need to look at the history. You need to look at the behaviors beforehand. Is this something that they class as normal? We need to understand their way of thinking. Is it again to do with their class? Is it that they're no, I don't want to make that assumption and say social workers, you shouldn't do that. Okay, let me rephrase this now. Is it
Yeah.
because they have money, they have professional status stroke power, that they feel that the rules do not apply to them? Perhaps.
People, don't think that these questions are irrelevant. You know, you have to ask these questions for assessment.
We need a bigger picture.
That's right.
Get a deep understanding of what really happened here.
Now, look, there's a comment here by Jaffa Cakes. You made me hungry when you just by looking at your username. If I nip to the local pub now and left my children, they'd be removed under Section 47, safeguarding facts. So why weren't they at least assessed? Now look, let me. Did you want to say something? No, go on. I'm gonna come back. I'll come back.
See, this is why I was saying that history needs to be looked at. It needs to be assessed. If I'm, as a social worker, I'm going to assess somebody in the RNA team, MASH, whatever you want to call it, in whatever local authority, and I'm seeing a referral saying mum or dad or both have gone out to local pub and they've left the children home, my brain ain't going to think Section 47 straight away. No, it's not. But is that to do with my age, my skills, my experience? Because I can guarantee you, when I first entered social work, not even being a social worker, studying, I was like, no, you can't do that. You can't leave them at home alone. Yeah, we need to take them away. No, you can't. Okay, I will come back to it. Let me give you an example. My first year, I was in the RNA team, and there was a couple, and the mum was dependent on alcohol, and the father was just here and there, and they had a little baby, and the father did recreational drugs. My view, not having no knowledge about social work and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really bad. And I said to my practice educator at the time, is it going to go down Section 47? Are the children get taken away? She said no. She said you need to look at, number one, is mother left alone all the time? with the child. When the father is doing recreational drugs, where is he doing it? Who's he doing it with? Her mindset was he needs to be doing it with somebody, because if he's doing it alone and something happens, my guy can end up dead and there's no one to call for help. As long as he's not doing it at home, in front of the child and in front of the parents. You also looked at the frequency that he was doing it. He was doing it socially. So that's just, I'm not going to go into the mother, but that's the father. That was my viewpoint at that time. So if I'm going back to Jaffa Cates's example here, no, that's not what I'm thinking about Section 47. I'm going in as preventative. I think someone else said earlier, like early help. I want to talk to this parent. I want to find out what's going on for you. You might have had the bad day and just thought, you know what, I need to go and get a drink. It could have been the first instant. It could be the only instant. And me coming around, that could have shook you up and thought, do you know what, I'm not doing it again. That's one side to it. The other side to it could have been, this is a reoccurring thing. Neighbours might have called social services to report the fact that, you know what, I've seen these children many times at home on their own. So this is what I'm saying. You have to build up a history. You have to build up a picture of what's going on. You can't just jump in. And this is what and I'm not saying this is you, but this is what I don't like about people who view social workers or the local authority of just coming in and taking your children away. It's not like that. I'm not saying, you know, every local authority or every social worker doesn't do that. I'm not in denial. It happens, but that's not how it's supposed to be run.
Yeah, it's very rare that
I
that happens.
definitely agree with you, because people have got that attitude that social workers just go in and take children under Section 47. It's not that. We're trying to identify what is happening. What are the risks to these children? How often are these things happening? How are these children affected by what's going on in the family home before we even reach that Section 47? So early intervention, I believe, is very, very important to prevent situations of missing children. But that it also involves a lot of multi-agency working. So communication is the key here. If as social workers we are not aware, then what can we do? We can only go by what we know.
Well, you know what's interesting? Pippo mentioned earlier on, I'm going to find it, I'm going to read it. Way up. Pippo says, that's right. Do they know what is wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
What is their understanding and expectations?
Exactly. They might have the view of, well, my parents did it, I was fine. Of course, there was many things that our parents and our parents could have done, and it was considered normal. But unfortunately, because time's changing, it's seen a bit different now. So again, if you're working with a parent and saying, well, there's nothing wrong with me, you have to take that into consideration, because that's all they know.
Okay, so check this out. I put this post out. It's on TikTok, and it's got a lot of, you know, the vast majority of people said take the kids or child protection status. I think, Natalie, just to be clear, you're working more with adults, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm studying with children too.
You're starting with children soon?
I'm studying children too. But
Right,
yeah,
right, okay. So you're going to be doing placement with children at some point. So some of the jargon, if we lose you, just tell us that we're because this is children and families. So this is what I'm going to put to you all, right? And a number of people left this type of comment: leave the family alone. They have lost a child. We don't need to be stressing them out. They've lost someone. Social services do not need to get any further involved. It's already sad what's happened. What do you say to that? And this is a question to the audience as well.
Well, yes, we do. Because the child was left alone in the first place. So now it becomes a risk. Are you going to leave the other children alone, which they could go missing too? So yes, we do need to get involved.
Natalie's not playing. You need to come, children and families.
We definitely need to get involved to understand why a 3-year-old was left alone in the first place. Because
they're having a party. They said you can see them. They said they could see. They could see the room clearly from where they were.
Well, obviously
They
not
was
good
at a
enough.
party. They were under the influence of alcohol. Like, no, no.
I don't know.
Their vision was impaired. They couldn't
It's
Yeah.
see because they
double
were that tipsy.
blurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. What do you reckon, Vanessa? No, but give them a break. I mean, they've lost.
Well, I'm sorry. This is part of our role as social workers. We have to show some form of compassion, but we've got a job to do.
Mm.
And we have to find ways that are sensitive to be able to approach that discussion. You know, the child is gone. Okay, I get that. So what? Just because you're dealing with grief, that I have to back off and not do my job properly to safeguard actually your other children that you have?
Yeah, yeah.
Because actually, which we might go into, they might have something to do with it. Oh, but sorry, because they're grieving, I got to back off.
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's part of our job. We have to enter those difficult situations and conversations. We have to be able to do that. And if we can't do that, then it's best not that we're not social workers, because this is how a lot of stuff happen under our noses. Because, oh yeah, I'm not going to do it. I let Natalie do it. Nah, Natalie ain't going to do it because she'll let Curtis do it. No. What did they say? I can't remember the phrase, but all children is everybody's business, something like that. I can't remember now.
Everybody's responsibility. Safeguarding everybody's responsibility.
That's right.
The safety of a child is everyone's responsibility.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. There was something else that I read up here. I remember recently I had a discussion with a parent who, not as serious as loss, but I had to grill this parent for an hour and a half because they couldn't, and they were crying on and off for this hour and a half. And the occasion before that, and the occasion before that. And because I wanted them to come to a realization of what they've done wrong. And in my head, because I'm a nice guy, all right? In my head, I'm thinking, all right, that's enough now. But I was worried that they hadn't learned from their mistakes. So what do? Do I back off because of the tears? And people, this is what social work is. For those of you who are not, and I know there's probably some far more experienced social workers out there. Sometimes the discussions are very challenging. Someone says it, Alastonia says, horrific situation. I have empathy, but 2 other small children need to be safeguarded to ensure their safety going forward in an honest but sensitive way.
That's right.
Of course.
And it says here, someone says here, what the message is, okay, it's grammar. What message is social services given by not doing anything? We didn't do anything. Okay, we didn't do anything. Now, this is something I've podcasted on. I want to do it again. How can I ask this question without being slaughtered? What if social services don't get involved? What does that mean?
We're not doing our job properly. The parents need to be held accountable for leaving the children in the first place and understand the risks involved so they don't do it again to the other children. They have to hold accountability. We can't just say, okay, then you agree that it's okay, you can leave your children alone. We're here to safeguard these children. So we have to get that message across one way or another. Otherwise, if it happens to the other children of theirs, we're kind of held accountable because we just let it go and said, okay, then we can't do that. And if we do that, we're in the wrong job.
I didn't like you as my social worker at first, but you need to be my social worker now. Because you go in, I mean, you're going to be great. I mean, I'm telling you, you're going to be a great social worker.
Thank you.
I guess I want to ask this question. It's an extension of the first one. This is something that I noticed, and I remember going to my first child protection conference back in 2015. And I was a pastoral manager in a secondary school at the time. And I wasn't aware of how these things worked. My manager just said to me, just go to this meeting. I'm busy. Can you cover it for me? I thought, I'm getting out of the school. I'm getting a break. I'm going to go. Went down to the school. There's about 20 people in the room, 20 professionals in the room, right? Social services, health, the chair, the family, the school. Who else is there? That's it. But there's a lot of people though. And when they ask you to vote under what category of concern, and do you suggest that this is child protection, yes or no? That was those two questions asked at the time, right? And I was like, what the heck? What am I supposed to say? I don't know about how this works. So what I did was, it's sad. What I did was I listened to what everyone was saying, and I was like near to the end anyway. And I went with the majority decision because I didn't want to look stupid. Now, I've listened to strategy meetings since then, and I am of the opinion that some, I'm going to say even social workers, but it's not only social workers in strategy meetings, and professionals meetings, it's other professionals as well. I've got a feeling that there's a majority, because some cases you're like, I'm not sure, but there is a social influence factor as to why professionals vote in a certain direction. Maybe because there's a really charismatic character in the group that kind of says, well, I've got serious concerns, class, accent, and their influence and how they may make us feel. And the reason I'm saying this is because if someone said to you that this case needs to be brushed under the carpet or put aside, what would you do? And what would you say?
No. It's not getting brushed under the carpet. We are going to get to the root of the problem. How this happened in the first place. We are not brushing it under the carpet.
No, I agree with that one. And also someone else was saying in the comment that you didn't really hear much about the professional network or the social network of the McCann family. And I thought, yeah, actually, because when these kind of things happen, it always tends to be someone who's very close to you.
Explain that more. Then you can't brush the surface like that. You can't do that.
They say like when somebody's murdered or kidnapped or something like that, if somebody is close or somebody's watching, either in your family or your friends, because they know how you move, they know your routine, how things work. I don't know who the MAdeliline family went on holiday with, but I understand it was their friends. Who are these friends? So again, when we're doing these risk assessments and these single assessments, whatever they're called, as I said, in whatever local authority, who is your support network? Who are your friends? Who's coming in and out of your house? Whose house are you going to? What do they do?
The genogram, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And your eco map, which is your support system.
Yes.
I didn't hear much about that in terms of the McCanns.
There wasn't none really.
But did it happen? But it just didn't come to media attention, because that's another thing that money might buy. To hush your mouth.
Okay, now where do you want to go with this? Because I know you was ready.
Oh, I believe money's an influencer. This definitely is to do with money. I think to date they have spent how much? £13 million on this case.
I thought it was 19, but hey.
19, well, between 13 to 19, they have spent on one case.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
one in 9 children are reported missing every day, according to the Children's Missing Charity. That money is not spent on these children.
Yeah.
Money was an influencer in this case, which enabled them to gain the respect of the media, of the government. All the funds come rolling in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just goes to show it's inequality. If you've got money, you're able to receive these services, get the support. If you're low class, then there's really no hope.
Do you know, I've been very intentional, right? Because referrals come in from all classes, mostly from the working classes, but DV, sexual assault, all of this stuff comes from all classes, right? And I'm very intentional. Everybody gets the same treatment, you know?
I think that depends on the professional, like ourselves. So going in with an anti-discrimination practice, being non-judgmental, being non-biased, that can produce positive outcomes. But if we hold certain values and judgment within ourselves, that can impact the way we work with children.
You know you're writing your next assignment right now, isn't it? Do you know what? Somebody else wants to come on. Have they gone? Oh yeah, I'm gonna let them on. Social work, I'm gonna bring on in a minute, yeah, but there's someone else here, and I'm gonna see if they'll come on. I'm gonna let, because someone's requested to join. And
while they're joining, can I say
sure.
something?
Sure.
So, you know, we're talking about the class and money, what money can buy you, etc. Let me just say disguised compliance.
What are you saying? This is
You
a
see,
topic for me.
do you see those ones that have the money? They're in those jobs where they, as I said before, they can articulate themselves. Those ones don't fool me, you know. They do not fool me, because I'll be sitting there and I'll be watching, I'll be observing you, but I'll be listening to the language you're using.
Yeah.
Because also we have to be real when we're dealing with professionals from service users from a different from an upper class. They are looking at us differently because we're not on the same level as them. But it's okay, because I'll sit there and I'll make you think that I'm stupid, but I'm watching you. I'm observing you. And I'm also watching the non-verbal cues as well, which is a very good thing in terms of working with families who come into contact with social services.
I mean, there's so much going on in my head right now. I'm so sorry. Because someone just put a comment here. Let's be real. When have you ever heard of celebs or people in power lose their kids? Who's assessing Prince Andrew? I mean, the thing is, it's not easy to lose your. It's not an easy thing. It's difficult to lose your children. Okay, let's be clear. Like if there's domestic violence or alcohol, which are the classics, they will go to family. And then we'll work with you to get your child back. So it's not like people are just losing their kids and going to the system. There's usually someone there who can take over. And that's how that works. Body language, eye contact. I'm a language person, you know. There's a really good guy. I'm going to urge you to listen to him. Watch him on YouTube. He's very good, right? His name's Peter Hyatt, yeah? And he teaches you about language analysis. Listening to what people say, they're leading you to the truth of a matter. So you believe everything that they say, because what they're saying is true. So when people are talking, they're actually telling you indirectly, even when they're lying to you, they're telling you the truth. And so he's got a 99% success rate in tracking and finding out if someone's been found, if someone is guilty of a crime, he's as
Wow.
reliable as a polygraph test, yeah, by breaking down people's language. And he even did an analysis on the McCann family. And without, I did say I won't go into the conspiracy, but it's difficult, people. I'm sorry. So what he did was he broke down and he said, listen to the other interviews that especially the wife has spoken about. He says that they're both telling you what happened to the child indirectly. It's deep. So obviously they're very articulate, they're very intelligent. Let me type it in. Peter Hyatt, Peterhayat, yeah. They're telling you indirectly. So we as social workers, please listen to people and be very professionally curious. What does that mean when you say that? I was working with a parent. Oh, let me try and be careful. I was working with a parent, and they were saying it was just a blur. They use a term. I asked them about, why did you do that? And they said it was just a blur. And I said, what do you mean? I wasn't thinking. But I said, but everybody thinks and you can never stop thinking. What do you mean? It was just a blur. What do you mean you were tired? You dig into it and you find that this person, it took hours, I said, you're going to have to break this down for me because you're basically telling me why you did it. These are the questions we have to be hammering in, like, what do you mean? Yeah, go on. So I'm listening.
Yeah, you have to dig deep because what they might comment on, we might see differently to what they actually mean. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah. We
need to have a clear understanding to what was the blur? What do you mean a blur?
Yeah.
So, but also, is that blur trying to shut you down as a professional? Because if you don't have the skills to ask the right questions to unpick that, then you won't ask more questions, then you won't get to the bottom of it. I had a service user say to me, that part of my life I don't remember. So in one sense, I'm thinking, okay, is that because of trauma why you can't remember? Or is it because you don't want to talk about it, you don't remember? Like, there's so many things. And as you were saying, Curtis, sometimes these things do take hours. It could take days, it could take months, it could take years even, because they need to feel that they can trust you, or in terms of building up that relationship.
Okay. There's so much to go through. Okay. Does anyone know what distance they were from the hotel room? 50 meters. 50 meters. 50 meters. Now, what can you see about a child 50 meters away?
Well, I'm going to make joke out of this. I wear glasses. I can't see nothing.
Nothing.
Glasses can't help you with this. He's binoculars. Binoculars, yeah.
It was 50 meters.
50
They're not
meters.
serious.
What's interesting? Listen to the language. Oh, this is deep. The language was from them both. They were just a short distance away. We could see them the whole time. So as a social worker, you got to ask yourself the question, or ask them the question. What distance was that? Someone saying there, can you see through walls?
I love that. My question would be, well, what actually could you see? Because I'm curious. And as I said, I will take my vision impairment as joke. Help me out. What can you see? Because I wouldn't be able to see much and I'll have my glasses on. Help me out.
Definitely, you can see more than me.
Sometimes you do have to play dumb in order to get them to open up.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, help me to understand.
Yeah.
What can you see in that distance of 50 meters?
Yeah.
And actually, do you wear glasses? I know some people may laugh, but actually, this is serious. Do you wear glasses? Because that might have an impact on what you were seeing all the way down there. Oh, for real.
Mm,
I like that with beer goggles on.
that must be your friend. That's got to be your friend.
Um,
Yeah, Coco, that's got to be your friend.
I love that.
I need to know.
Yeah. So that curiosity, we weren't given a chance for that, and that for me says a lot, really. And I'd like to say I'd be damned. Social work mentor, he wants to come in. I'm gonna let someone in. Is that all right, guys?
Yeah.
I'd like to say I'd be damned that I'd let, because if you haven't been allocated a case, you haven't been allocated a case, so you can't do anything with it, you know. But my main concern is that I hope that what I'm saying today will stand, in that I will ask those questions that need to be asked. I don't ever want to make the mistake of settling for easy answers.
Can I add something? Add something else. Someone wrote,
Mm.
if the McCanns could see that distance, why were they not able to see when Madeline went missing?
Yeah.
And I
Good
think that's a very
question.
good point.
Mm.
Your eyesight's that good, isn't it?
Mm.
So you tell me what happened. What did you see?
Mm.
Because actually, if you're going to be like, I don't know what I saw, that's not good enough.
Right, sorry, I had to use a word there. Do you know why? Because I'm transposing this into my current practice, you know. And I'm sitting there thinking, hold on a minute. Could that be me not asking certain questions? Because you know what's going to happen, innit? My neck is going to be on the block. Not my career's over, you know. Couldn't go to an agency and say, yo, get me a... my career... And it's not just because of my career. It's about the child's missing. I'm looking at myself and I'm like, guys, look, I host this show, but this is as real as it gets. Nana's going to come in and say, this is as real as it gets. When, if you think that no matter how much experience we have, it's still easy for us to be tired, overstretched, and miss things. That's why we have these discussions. Nana, what are you saying?
Bro, I'm good. I've been listening in the background.
Trying to hold it down, but you can't.
Listen, let me tell you something here. This is what people need to understand. Let me just be raggo on this live. People need to understand. You see this social work job? If you're not inquisitive, if you don't go beneath the water, you got the shallow end.
Yes, bro.
You got deep, deep, deep water. If you don't go in, there's something that you can miss. And the reality that people need to understand, the social workers, I get the stigma.
Yeah.
If we don't respond, we're liable. Yeah. That's the facts. And I'm saying it as it is. If we as social workers don't be Sherlock Holmes, we don't challenge, and anything goes wrong, why did the social worker not ask these questions? Why did the social worker not listen to this, or go here, or go here, or go here? I get that people feel that with this case for the McCanns, that they should be left alone. But the reality is, for me, it's a child protection concern. There's concerns around adult supervision. Do you know what I mean? And that's the reason why we have to be involved. We get teenagers who go missing all the time, involved in county lines. We're still involved because we still have a duty of care. So for me, there's no reason why we should back off at all when any form or any kind of these cases come through. Because yes, of course, we have to look at the parents, but people look at the multi-agency, but they look at us as the lead professionals because we're the ones who are executing the assessments and the plans, when working with families. we cannot go and leave any stone unturned. We cannot, as social workers, we cannot. And this is whether people like what we do or not, because the reality is, when serious case review happens, we're looked at. Yeah, all the other professionals in the background dwindle. They always look at what the local authority didn't do or did do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me, we can't back off. I think our colleagues mentioned that, you know, every week children go missing. There's children missing from education. There's children missing from home. Do we overlook it? Because, and this is what people need to understand as well, is the fact is that we have to challenge parents as well. Rightly or wrongly, we have to be challenging parents as well on when we do receive referrals. Yeah. And this particular case, yes, I understand it happened outside our jurisdiction. Yeah. So legally, we wouldn't really have any foothold. But the reality is, that's a British child, do you know what I mean, that had gone missing.
Whoa. Hold on. When they come back to the country, they're British citizens.
Exactly. So even if they've left our jurisdiction, yeah, because that's like saying
I'd be at the airport waiting.
Well, bro, the thing is, yeah, that's like saying when we work with children who are on child protection plans and they go abroad, we still have to do our visits. We still have to we have to do this. We still have to virtually see them and make sure they're safeguarded and ask, where are you going? And all the sort of things. We still got to do our checks. Yeah. We still got to liaise with CFAB. If you guys know about CFAB, children and families across borders, yes, we still got to do work with them and let them know that there's children who are on a plan who are going abroad. So there's still questions for us to ask. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, in terms of it. So there isn't any reason why we should back off in terms of the McCanns. Now, they've made a lot of money with this thing. I don't know whether I think you've already said it. They've made a lot of money with it, to be honest with you. They've written a book.
Yo, Natalie's steaming in the background, mate.
You know what I'm saying to you? Let's say how it is. The facts remain. They have made money from it. Whether that money is being funded to go and find their child here and there, I don't know, innit? We don't know what's in their bank. But they have made money for it. So yes, there's other children within the household. So of course, naturally, you would want to assess. You know, you would want to assess what is going on. And yes, of course, they may feel that, you know what, is very, very intrusive of us to still want to remain involved. But the reality is, it's about supervision of those children. So yes, of course, we have to still question it. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? We have to obviously factor that in. So I know a lot of people expect social services to back and don't feel that our intervention is always positive. And I do get that. But let me ask everyone this: if social services back off, are you gonna blame us when something happens, or are you gonna say, you know what, social services backed off because we told them to? Do you know what I mean? And that's the point. You know, if maybe legislation change and accountability was a lot more different, and it wasn't so widespread, then maybe. But the fact remains that we have to respond to these concerns, to be honest with you. And it's not easy for us to go and walk and be like, okay, you know what, we're going to go and close the case. Because people will ask us, why did you go and close the case? What was your rationale? What was your...
Well, actually, this is a question. And this question, sorry to cut you, bro. This is a question to the audience. If you had this case where a parent had a child that went missing because they left them unattended, and you had this case, what would happen if you said to your manager, I'm going to close this case now?
Curtis, let me tell you something right now. As a team manager right now, any social worker comes and tells me, "Nan, I'm closing the case," I'm telling you, I'm overriding your ration. I'm sorry. Raggo. I will be stratting that. I will be asking for a strat. You want to close the case just like that?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, the reason why... Sorry, Natalie, I don't want to leave you out of this. Natalie, what do you want to say? What do you want to say?
If we was to close the case and back off the family and then something happened, we are taking the blame. Everyone would come at us as social workers. So when we say we're not backing off the case and giving reasons to why we're not backing off the case, we're still labelled bad guys.
All right, Natalie, so you're a manager now, right? And I'm the social worker, I've got the case. So whatever decisions I make, you kind of vet them really and just yeah, nay, or, you know. So if I said to you, look, this family's been through a lot and I think they've learned their lesson. They've been on a child protection plan now for a month and I think that they've learned their lesson. So I'm going to just say no further action now. What would you say to me?
We're going to have supervision next week. I'm concerned.
All right, Vanessa. Vanessa, what would you say? I think that the family have learnt their lesson, and I think we should consider stepping down. They basically, their story is as it is in the media. Sorry to cut you, Nana, but I'm going to go into this a bit more. Vanessa, their story is as it is in the media, as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're pretty innocent. It's sad what happened to them. What would you say to me?
Where's the evidence?
The evidence is that they've got the police looking. They've got the police looking for the children right now, and we're just, you know, it obviously wasn't us. Someone's obviously taken our child, and we need to focus on getting that child back. And I'm crying tears now because I'm crying as a parent, and yeah. Go on, what are you saying? Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at my tears. They're real.
Like, seriously, no. Do you know, I know they say you shouldn't think like this, but it is being drummed into my head in my first year doing my ASYE. Document everything. Where's your evidence? Be curious. Ask those awkward questions. Ask those uncomfortable questions. Because I'm not the one that's going to lose my job because I didn't ask those questions. I worked too damn hard to get where I am right now. So therefore, I'm going to do my job properly, and they're not going to be telling me, you know, that they don't have anything else to give. I need to dig. Like, my curiosity won't let me sleep at night. I need to find out more information.
No. So I'm coming to you this question. With what you know about the case, give me your top 3 questions.
With the case, yeah?
To me as a social worker that I should be asking.
So if you're dealing with the McCanns and the child has gone missing, the first thing I'll be asking, who had access to the family home?
Say again?
Who had access to the home?
Why are you asking that? Oh, you mean to the hotel room, you mean?
No. We're talking about the social worker, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if the social worker has been allocated this case here and the child has gone missing, who was in? One of the things social workers we don't do is and this is where I think we go wrong. We don't ask about who's in and out the family home. We don't go and do that.
So obviously they've come back to the UK and you're asking about their UK home.
No, we're talking about the concerns when they were abroad. Right. So I'm taking the case live as to when they were abroad. So I'll be saying to them, okay, so your abroad child's gone missing. Who was in the home with yourself and the children? Who was in the home with yourself and the children? You have to ask those questions. It's the same thing if a child is missing. If a child is missing from the family home in terms of supervision, right? You'd be asking, who's coming out of the family home? When we have those abuse cases, you ask, who's in and out of the family home? Can you tell me the adults? Who, what, when, why? You ask those open questions and then you close it off, isn't it? You have to be asking those questions. So for me, my questions, who, what, why, and when, and how. You have to. That's one thing we learn at university. You ask those questions and then you close it off. So I would expect the social worker to be asking their parents, okay, you were on holiday, who was with you? Okay, it's yourself, your wife, and the 2 other children. Okay, did anybody else come into the hotel room? Did a member of staff come in? Did you go downstairs for check-in? Did you go to eat? Did you change? What room were you in?
Yeah.
those are the things that I'll be asking, because your manager in supervision will be saying to you, were you that inquisitive? You've got to be detective.
Yeah.
You've got to be detective with it. It's not nice. It isn't nice. But
but every time you ask those deep questions, they're both breaking into tears. They can't handle it.
Yeah, okay, but Chris, okay, I get that. We've got to take on board.
We've got to take it easy on people sometimes, though.
No, but Curtis, we've got to take it easy. I'm not saying that we don't take it easy with the parents. It's sensitive. So yes, there's an element of that. We have to be empathetic towards the parent when we're working with them. But the reality is, her case, I treat her case as serious case review. That's how I treat it. It's the highest level, because she hasn't been it's serious case review. So serious case review teaches us that we got to learn from our mistakes. What the gaps are. We need to be finding from the parents where were the gaps. We're not there. We're here. This happened abroad. So we have to get the gaps from the parents. It's difficult, but we have to find out from the parents where were the gaps, because automatically we would then shift to the other children in the home to go and say, well, this happened abroad. How is it you're supervising the other children within the? I'm trying to say to you, it's difficult questions, but professional, what do you call it? Curiosity, science and safety. What do we call it? Appreciative inquiry. That's what we call it under science and safety, right? And if any of you work in local authority, we call it appreciative inquiry. When you do that training, it's about asking the unknown questions that you wouldn't ask generically. You know what I'm trying to say to you? As social workers, the police, I've seen a comment, have a completely different remit towards social service with respect. The police don't look at the child protection aspect. We do. So, you know, you've got to use appreciative inquiry. We have to try and fill in those gaps, those grey areas. Right now, we need to see colours, and it's grey. What are the bits that we're missing? They're painting us a picture, but the sky is light blue, but there's no sun. What is the reason for that? Do you know what I mean? Difficult questions, but we have to ask them. And if a social worker came back to me and didn't ask them, I would say to you in supervision, so why did you not ask those questions? Would that be the first thing you would talk about? It's like going completing a home visit, and social workers write up a home visit. You're gonna see they've spoken about their observations. What was the child's room like? You know, did you see toys? Did you see posters? Was it cold? Was there pens, pencils? Was it stimulation? This is like observation skills. Do you know what I'm saying? That we learn. So I'd want a social worker in supervision to tell me and say, now, you know what? I've gone through these 5 things with the parents and they've been consistent throughout with me, or they haven't been consistent, or dad's told me one thing and mum's told me another. Something actually isn't marrying up. And that's what we need to look at in terms of the McCanns, because all this, in terms of assessment, is parenting capacity, isn't it? If you look at the assessment triangle, that we complete, this comes under parenting capacity. It comes under supervision. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Perfectly. I've got a question for you, all of you. I guess yes or no is an answer. Would you feel that as a social worker you need to see CCTV footage?
100.
Of the hotel, yes.
If it was there, of course, that would help.
Yeah. Because
that would help massively.
Yeah, that would form part of your chronology. If you've got the CCTV, then at least if we're going to do a chronology of events, then we would be able to look at the CCTV in line with the next step on what's happened, and whether actually what the parents are saying to you, does it match what the CCTV is saying? So I want to do that. That would be part of your assessment. You'd include that within your analysis and recommendation to say that we've been given access to the CCTV. So we've been able to see that actually, you know what the parents were saying to the time frame, it doesn't marry up, because actually we've seen somebody else has gone in, or actually it's clear that the parents left, so there was a time gap. So it would have allowed, if she's kidnapped, it would have allowed anybody to come in and take. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I would
Okay. So I've got a question. The audience is battering us with these comments, man. I tell you. But I think everyone is pretty much on the same page, and it's actually, I found it very interesting, because I think socially this case and topic has in the media been 100% sympathy. But interestingly, when I put the post out there, there has been like 99.9% hold on a minute. You know, what's going on here? Now, I've got a question for you. I've got a question for Natalie and Vanessa. Nana is your manager and he's pressuring you and making a strong suggestion, because he's like that, to step down the case. So this
Nah,
family,
don't say that, man, because you know I wouldn't do that, bro. Don't
no,
say
well,
that.
you know, you got those managers out there, right?
Yeah, you do. But go on.
But so what we're looking at is the family have just arrived back in the UK. You've asked a lot of questions, and what you're getting is maybe what you suspect to be some disguised compliance, or what you interpret as these questions are not being answered, and the parents are a little bit withdrawn to kind of engage. And Nana is like, look, what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna have to step this down. I think that they've been through a lot, and I think that what we'll do is, I mean, it's been. I'm asking you because I'm being pressured to kind of step down the case too. That's how he's moving, right? What's your response to that? How are you going to handle that hierarchical pressure?
I will argue it, and I will give the documentation to why I refuse to hand down this case. So we have many unanswered questions,
Right.
many risks still involved. It's my duty of care to safeguard the other children. So if as a manager, you're not supporting me in that, then clearly as a manager, you're doing something wrong. I'm not stepping down.
Are you going to say that to your manager?
Yeah. Right. I plan to be a manager one day. So yeah.
I like that assertiveness. I like it. You keep that thought process.
Right is right and wrong is wrong. Like, and in guidelines of the laws and the legislations that we have to follow, I will put that evidence on the table to why we cannot step down as social workers. Because if anything needs to happen now, we are to blame.
Yeah.
And a manager telling me, well, let's disclose the case. Well, no, we can't. These are children and they have lives. We can't do that.
All right. Troublemaker.
My turn.
You got it.
It's after 9 o'clock now, so all the bad language is coming out. I ain't signing shit, yeah? Because my name ain't going to be on no piece of paper to say, you see how I've set up assertive? Because you got me going now.
The Guinness has kicked in.
My name ain't going on no piece of paper to say that I agreed for this to be stepped down. No, that's Nana's business. I don't care who he is, team manager or what. That's your own prerogative. Because when this associate director comes to look at my supervision and see that my name was signed on it, no. If it gets to that predicament where things get ruffled or something gets, or if you know what they say in social work, that sometimes you have to listen to your gut instinct, yeah? And I'll be saying to Nana, do you know what? Something don't feel right about this. I've looked at this and I've looked at that, and maybe Nana say, do you know what, Vanessa? No, we don't have enough evidence. I've got another case for you. We need to move this on. We need to shut it down. I'm going to say that word that a lot of us don't like to hear, but I might have to whistle blow because I'm not going to be held responsible. That is not going on my head. If I felt that strongly about it, I would have to do. Who am I going to tell? I don't know. I haven't whistleblowed before, but that's my thought process. You know, if you feel that strongly, you have evidence, or you feel that more of it needs to be dug into, I'm pretty sure, you know, if Nana was my manager, we would have that good working relationship where who's saying, do you know what, Vanessa, put it on the plate for me. Tell me what you got. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss this. What do you think we could do next? That's what I want to be hearing. But, you know, let's be real. Some managers are not like that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not signing nothing.
Yeah. No, you got a lot of hate right now, so you better
yeah, love, just love.
I'll be real with you, yeah, because like in my post, like I said, you know, I manage my own team, yeah. And when I do speak to social workers and they've got a recommendation, yeah, it is important that as a manager that I have to have that good working relationship with you. Because remember, I'm not going out on the ground, isn't it? So it's you guys as the social workers who are going out the ground, and you're the ones who are giving me the information. Obviously, there's the whole thing. I have to play good cop, bad cop. So I need to be telling to you why is it you're stepping down. I have to throw to you why I'm disagreeing with you or not. But it's important that we can at least find the middle ground. And I always say to social workers, look, being in my position where I'm at, it doesn't always mean that I'm right about everything, particularly with these, you know, these kind of cases. And what you're saying, Vanessa, you're right. I think what social workers need to be doing, that I don't see a lot of, is social workers don't put their workings out on file. And we learn at university that, you know what, we talk out loud instead of our cases. As social workers, you need to be putting your workings out on the file, so you can read back your rationale. So even if your manager disagrees with you, yeah, you can go back and reflect, be like, actually, you know what, this was my workings out and rationale.
All right, pause there. I want to ask you this question on what you're talking about. Let's go a bit deeper.
Yeah.
What does a manager need to see? Be a bit more specific about evidencing concern and risk.
So what I need to see from social workers, so it's not, oh, I've got these concerns and that's it, you leave it blank. You need to be putting, for example, your observations. Yeah, we don't do that enough. What are your observations?
Yeah.
What have the professional network? Because you need to have hypothesize, but you also need to have, like, what do you call it? You need to have your formula. So, what have professionals been saying to you? What has your own observations been? What have the parents been saying to you? What's the patterns in the case? Has mum and dad been consistent with what they said to you on this day, but then another day they've changed? Okay, can you rationalize why they've changed? Have you challenged them on why they've changed? So you need to be showing the ever-changing dynamics, and you need to be putting that down, because you can't say, mum and dad have said this, and, oh no, I want the cases to step down. But why though? What's been the journey of the case? So when social workers come to me and like, Nana, I want to step a case down, I might shut it down and say no, because actually I've looked through the system and the file, but there's nothing that I'm seeing from you, not that's going to sway me, but I'm not seeing how you've worked the case to get there, if that makes sense. So I'm not seeing your roadmap. I'm not seeing any of that. So I'm not seeing your observations. I'm not seeing your observations. I'm not seeing your communications. I'm not seeing anything from what professionals are telling me. There's nothing that you're telling me that's going to make me agree with you, if that makes sense. If you're able to give me that synopsis that is succinct, you can use science and safety because it's there. It's easy for you to use. If you've got a model, you've got science and safety, what's working well, what's not working well, what needs to happen, and you've got your scaling. If you've got that down on paper and you're able to show it to me, then I might be in agreement with what you're saying.
So we have to paint that picture.
You need to
in HD.
The social workers are good at telling people why they're worried. They don't, so they can say, oh, outside right now it's raining, you know, there's clouds and everything, you know. We're good at talking and saying it, but we don't literally paint it out to our audience. You've got to paint it out to your managers. I allow social workers to do that. Give me the picture of what you're saying. And if I don't get it, Nana, can you come out on a visit with me? And I go out on a visit. All right, cool. Because some managers don't do that. I do that. I go out on visits because I believe to be a good manager, you got to know what's going on the ground. Sometimes you need to see it from just
yourself.
Yeah, rather than sit in your office and make a decision. No, go out there and look at and see what's going on. Okay. So with this case, with the McCanns, if a social worker's coming to say, Nana, you know what, I want to step this case down. I think the family have been through a lot. It's a difficult case. They've been through a lot. We need to allow them to settle down. Okay, I take on board how the family's feeling. It doesn't eliminate the child protection element. Do you know what I'm saying to you? It doesn't eliminate what's happened. Yeah. You've got to be saying to me, okay, because some of our social workers, feeling's important, but we have to take feeling out of it. If the risks are right in front of us, you have to say that, you know what, these are my feelings. However, this child protection element is still there. We can't step it down until we've got it. Do you know what I'm saying? But you need to document it and paint it in a way that anybody reading it, not just a team manager, but a senior worker, or if a social worker is to pick up a case, they can see where you were coming from. We don't go and do that enough, and that's the problem. And that's why a lot of social workers, sometimes you might have difficulties with your manager, because some managers are pricks anyway, but also because you're not painting your manager a picture of your decision making and rationale. Put your formula on there as to where you got to, and that's
okay. So pause there. You know, we're gonna have to do a session on assessments, Nana special. We need that.
yeah.
A big topic. I've got one more question for you. I mean, this is a really big topic because assessments are where we put it all together, I guess. So,
bro, I got a dip here because I need to eat. Yeah.
Fine, man. Thank you for showing up, man.
Yeah, guys. See you later, guys. Take care.
I got my last question to you both. Natalie, what's your takeaway? And anybody in the audience, man, just throw your comments up. What's your takeaway from today?
Well, as a social worker, you can't, feelings and emotions have to get put aside. I'm a social worker, I have a duty of care, and I'm coming to meet that. So fair enough, the service user might be emotional, upset, but I'll be sensitive to it, but I've also got a goal to meet, and that's my end target. So I'm coming to meet my targets as a social worker.
Anything else?
So, and I think as social workers, we need to dig deeper at the bigger picture. The importance of really digging, we need to dig to get to the root of the problem. So it's okay looking at a referral, this has happened, but we need to understand the person, build a relationship with the person, a level of trust, understanding. I think cultural awareness comes into that as well, because if I'm working with a child of a different culture, I need to have some sort of understanding to be able to relate to them. Otherwise, what good really am I? So, like, that's what I mean when I say non-judgmental, non-biased, respect them as an individual.
I'm coming back for you in a second, you know. Vanessa, before I come to you, I'm just going to read a couple comments. Jodie's saying, my takeaway is that I should be going to uni to become a social worker. Yes, you should.
Come on.
You might as well start, you know. Chloe says, duty of care is top.
Definitely.
Salty saying, reminders about class and how it impacts practice. My biggest. That is one of my biggest, because I think that they classed the whole of the UK society out. Hoodwinked is the word I want to use. Awareness of situated knowledge. I want to know more about that. What do you mean by that? Get back to that trends throughout the whole. I don't get that. Be aware of subjectivity, particularly when it's in high profile cases. Yes, sir. I'm not much of an academic, and my dyslexia is a massive barrier. Yeah. I have a podcast with someone. It's on my YouTube channel where she is a dyslexic social worker. There is no barrier that you've presented so far.
Yeah, I know many dyslexic social workers.
Yeah, absolutely not. And she's a how do I put it sensitively? She has like a high level of dyslexia as well. So, and you get support in your studies as well. So don't think that that's a barrier. Maybe you need to, because you've been on this show a few times. So go for it. Always have professional curiosity. The lived experience of the service user. Yes. Reunification, I haven't. So please message me privately to remind me. I'll have a look at that. Vanessa, last comment goes to you. What's your takeaway from today?
So back in 2007, right, I was a youth worker then. And when I saw what happened to Maddie, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. I didn't look into it. I didn't think deep into it. It was just on the news. 14, 15 years later,
as a social worker, I have so many questions. And I think somebody said it before about that professional curiosity.
Yeah.
But also something that as I've grown and matured in my professional role, I didn't think about their support network, who is around them. I really didn't think about that. So I think that's what I've taken away from today. Who's around them? You know, what is their history? For all we know, one of their friends could have been a paedophile or something. I don't know.
Why do you want to ask that? Sorry, I know we'll come on. Tanya, why would you ask that question?
What if somebody they know is a paedophile?
But in the case of a missing child, why would you want to go there?
Because I suppose you're ruling things out, aren't you? So your mind has to be open to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah, open-minded to.
It's almost as though you've got a checklist. You've got a checklist in your brain. And once you've been inquisitive to look at a certain area, then a lot of people say social work is a tick box. Yes, it is. You tick that one off that you've explored that. Then you move on to the next rationale or the next gut feeling that sits uncomfortably with you. You just don't know. That's why we have to ask these questions. We just don't know. And my last thing that I've learned, as BT says, is good to talk.
Definitely. You can learn a lot.
I just want to say, I really enjoyed tonight. But I also want to say how, and I don't want to say this in any condescending way, but Natalie, I'm so impressed with this first year ways that you're moving. Like you are, I'm excited for you. And I think
Thank you.
we want to take time to really just say, hats off to you. You are ahead of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm giving it my all.
No, look, doing your degree is not even the beginning for you. Like you are going somewhere. And whether it's or wherever you want to go, I think, wow, the world needs more of you. So I just want to take your hat off and big you up for that. Well done. People in the audience, send your love through, please, for the young girl. I say young girl, sorry. You're younger than me. That's what I'm trying to say. You know,
I wish I was that young.
You know, you got to be younger than me. So yeah, I just, you know, people send your love through. Vanessa, I appreciate the time as well.
You're welcome.
We need those established voices, man, to be guiding. And what we got tonight, I mean, for whatever I do in life, no matter how experienced I am, whenever I turn up on a panel or sit down with people, I'm there to learn.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much I know, I'm here to learn. So I appreciate your experience and bringing some Guinness talk as well. Sometimes after 9 o'clock, we have to drop the bombs, you know what I'm saying? Because it's serious. It's like, we have to use those words sometimes because it's serious. Like, this is life.
Can I just say something funny?
Yeah.
My children say to me, Mum, when you're on the phone, you talk different. I'm like, what do you mean different? You know what it is, isn't it? I said to my children, when you're in a different environment, you have to adapt the way you talk to certain people.
Definitely.
So you have to just drop it how it is.
Can I just say to the people in the comments, if anybody wants to add me, if I can help anyone in any way, then you can feel free to message me and I'll give you that support. We've all got to start somewhere. So feel free.
Nat, do you reckon dyslexia is a barrier?
No, not at all.
Can I just say, do you know how many people that are functioning and don't even know that they have dyslexia as well?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I got a touch of it. I'll be honest. I think I think I got a touch. I just want you all to know because I've got a story. I haven't said much about it, but I was out of education for 23 years and I left school with no grades. And then I went to college and then I went to uni.
Similar story.
And I passed with a first, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Mine too.
Do you understand? It's not clever that makes you do well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not clever.
Whatever you put in, you get out. That's my motto.
But
Now,
can I just say another thing?
go on. Yeah.
Probably going to be for another day.
No, go on.
I dislike the amount of pressure that our young people in school get. You have to get this GCSE. You have to get that GCSE. Curtis, me, how many other people in this world didn't get those GCSEs? But look where we are now.
Don't want to hear
Me
it.
too.
Yeah? All those young people that are stressing out, that are committing suicide because, oh my gosh, I didn't get this GCSE, or oh my gosh, I didn't get that degree. Please,
Deep mental health.
another story.
You know what I tell my kids, and I tell you what. I told my daughter, now she's in uni, thank God. But I told my daughter, you just need to get into college. Now, it's nice if you're that kid that wants to go and get the stars and the nines or whatnot. But if it's causing you pain, just get into college.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you understand? When you're in college, your GCSEs don't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
When you get into college, you need to get into uni. If it's hurting you, get into uni. You don't need nines or stars to get into uni.
No.
But you know what was interesting though? So I've got some comment. I have to address. See, unless you open up this can now. Okay. It's all right. Best of luck, mate. So Natalie's getting all the comments. None of us are getting them. All right. No barrier. I've got ADHD, dyslexic, and like Curtis, not education had to get BTECs, etc. Now on course to get into youth work and eventually social work. Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Passion is what gets us where we want to be. I'm gonna say this.
Right.
I had to, because to be a social worker, you have to do your maths and English, innit? And
Hey.
who wants to do the maths, right? Who wants to do the maths? My maths when I left school was an F.
I was an E.
Use an E.
Yeah.
Props, man. Props. I got an F, right? So when I left school, listen, education was like, it's not happening for Curtis. It's not happening. I'm not going to do it. So when I went to do functional skills now. And when I was doing it, I was struggling because I was teaching myself, and then I managed to get on a course, a free course, because when you're adult, it's free, people. So go for it, yeah? And I got 62%, because they allow you to take the test twice in functional skills. I got 62%, and I busted my brain. So they said, yeah, you got 2 weeks to go and do the second test. So you know what? I sat down with myself, people, and I said, hold on a minute. You're studying scared. You're studying worried that you're going to fail. And I realized the one day I went to the cafe to do my studies, put my headphones on, I just study, do YouTube videos on methodology. I said, hold on a minute. If I'm confident, it affects my learning.
Mm.
So I believed in myself in one day, and I got 92%.
Mm-hmm.
It weren't, listen, when I started to believe in myself, I started to get it. I was some saying I didn't even get GCSEs and had to pay for college course, BTEC. And I saying, yeah, man, failed miserably multiple times. I'm trying to say, like,
I still failed my English and maths. I had to spend extra time at college to get the equivalent.
Mm.
That's how I managed to get where I am.
and the common sense and the energy that Natalie's got in her first year, I did not have.
Same. No, serious.
Me, I don't know.
No. You're the social worker that all our young people want. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming.
yeah, you're for a
Watch
couple
this
years.
space.
Come work with me. But appreciate you guys. I'm gonna leave you to it, man. It's bedtime, innit? Look at us.
Yes.
At
it
our
is.
age.
Still talking.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Listen.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Believe it or not, it's my first ever live.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay. I'm gonna listen. You're coming back on. That's what it is. You're coming back. Guys, thank you so much. Listen, if you want to get into this more, if you want to know more about social work, how to get into it, how to get through it, if you're doing if you're studying, or if you're doing your ASYE, or if you're newly qualified, you can access the link in my bio, and you can access everything there, particularly my Patreon, where you can get support. And you can also follow Natalie. I don't know what your thing is. You can put it in a comment.
85.
Yeah, you might have to type it in if you can. And you can follow her for support. She's going to help you. And Vanessa, anything you got running, let me know.
Will do.
Yeah. Blessings to everyone. I'm going to stay on here so that she can put on the comment before we end it.
Okay, I'm going then. Peace out, everyone.
Take care now. Vanessa, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Get your names mixed up. Thank you. Your reception's gone now.
Is there? Oh, God.
LSBU so who's that now? That's what I studied. What do you mean? LSBU social work. DM me, please. Just in case. Lovely. Nat, 85. Take care.